Welcome to a celebratory edition of Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, how fun was that? In Cincinnati, the team's up 35-7, eventually go on to win 35-20 and exercise a lot of demons in one game.
Absolutely, getting the monkey off our back, getting the road win, the Battle of Ohio, coming off a bye week, a lot of positive things to talk about.
Absolutely. It's first road win, as we know, since 2015. First time the Browns have won back-to-back games since 2014, and it all starts with the guy, as you know, the trigger man, Baker Mayfield. Bernie, what are you seeing that is making Baker so good?
I don't want to get ahead of myself here, and I'm not trying to over-glorify him, but I played with Dan Marino, and Dan's ability in the pocket to move one or two steps, almost like watching Baker, his ability to move just a couple of steps and make plays while keeping the eyes downfield, to throw touch passes or power passes, really impressive to watch.
Yeah, there was one play where a free rusher came in. Basically, it was Baker's responsibility to beat that free rusher. He did, got out of the pocket, and then threw a strike on the run to Callaway on the sideline for that first down. And that, to me, said, man, that is a next level. That is Drew Brees. That's Aaron Rodgers. In fact, Baker's now thrown multiple scores in 5 straight games. The first time a rookie's ever done that in the storied history of this great franchise. But those tight ends, big week against Cincinnati. Why is that position so important to the quarterback?
Well, I think all pro teams and top-tier schools have to have that tight end position. We're well coached at that position. We have a lot of youth and depth there and athleticism. When you're able to get guys that could block just enough in today's 2018 NFL, but still have the hands of wide receivers and the speed and agility to put pressure and really negate man coverage, which we're starting to show with our tight ends.
Absolutely. Those tight ends scored 2 touchdowns on Sunday, and I went into the film room with our tight end coach, Greg Seaman, in this week's Papa John's Play Breakdown. Very happy to sit down with Browns tight end coach Greg Seaman. And coach, obviously a big game for the team, but a big game for your room on Sunday against the Bengals.
Yeah, we were very excited. The Bengals, the defense has struggled a bit, and we felt there were some things we could exploit with the tight ends vertically, and we were able to get the ball to David in the seams. And this play has a number of options for the quarterback. There are route combinations on either side to the outside, and then the screen to David. And generally, if you catch man-to-man coverage, the screen is not so good, and that's what we caught here. The safety, who's lined up over David, has him man-to-man. But when David sets to pass block, the safety adds on as a blitzer at that point, and thinking that David is no longer a receiving threat. The end, I think, recognizes what's going on. He tries to grab David's jersey right there and hold him, but David throws him up the field, and Bake put this ball on him quick. So as soon as David turned, the ball was right in his chest. So now he's going to race to the end zone, and here, you know, I pointed out to him earlier today, your left foot is on the line. You are 15 feet away from the goal line, and the safety is standing directly between you and the goal line. And despite the fact that you're a 7'2" high jumper, I don't think you can broad jump over that man and reach it to the end zone. But his University of Miami brethren, Duke, will come to the rescue here initially and get underneath and hold him up. And now here come the offensive linemen, and Treader and Chris, and finally Zeitler shoves David into the end zone. He gives the ball to Batonio, and we'll see it from the end zone. It ends up being quite a celebration.
All right, and let's take a look now. One of your other tight end touchdowns. This is Mr. Fells on a little rollout from Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, this is a lesson in persistence right here. This is a pattern that involves 4 receivers out to the front side, and we work through the progression here, and Darren would be probably 3rd or 4th in this progression. But the defense did a nice job. They match on all of the underneath routes pretty well, and his front side reads are exhausted, and so he begins working across the field. And the safety on the front side, of course, gets mesmerized by Jarvis Landry, gets his eyes on him. Darren's able to keep his depth slip behind him. And Darren is, as a professional basketball player, he has wonderful hand-eye coordination. He's got very, very sure hands. And so you felt very good when this ball went up that he would have no problem catching it and putting it away.
Now you see there from Greg Seaman, apparently David Njoku thinks he can fly, trying to attempt a 15-foot broad jump into the end zone there, but he got a little help from his friends getting in the end zone.
It's great teamwork getting in the end zone. I flash back to OTAs about 6 months ago, and Me and him were out there after practice, and his attention to detail and his competitiveness to get himself better. In OTAs, I still remember walking off the field with him and him kind of dragging me back on the field, asking if I could still throw the ball, asking me how do I run routes, how do I like to see releases being run, and to see him now kind of implement that into his game, it's really impressive to watch, almost like a young Jimmy Graham.
Exactly, another guy from the U, and somebody who really, you look at Njoku, still very young in the game of football, and still a lot of potential. We're seeing that progress. Caught all 5 of his targets for 63 yards and the touchdown here. Better things to come from David Njoku, better things to come from Browns All Access when we return. After the break, we have a real treat. The ever-talkative Damarious Randall was mic'd up in Cincinnati, and Nick Chubb talks about his touchdown catch against the Bengals. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside a legend who had a lot of swagger in his day, Bernie Kosar. And speaking of swagger, Damarious Randall is dripping with swagger on the defensive end. Picked up his 3rd interception of the season. He now has at least 3 interceptions every year he's been in the league. What kind of a difference maker has he been for this defense?
Well, there's no question. He's been a difference maker, playmaker, and a leader. You know, typically, I don't like to maybe tip off and cite the team that I'm playing the upcoming game like he did before the Bengals game. But that being said, when I had teammates, and I had teammates like that who sometimes were a little talkative in pre-games leading up to the games, when they back it up in the game, it makes it all worthwhile. That level of excitement, the way that bonds and brings a team and an organization together, words really can't describe it.
You're right about that, and Damarious Randall's been a guy that has been high on this team and its potential all year. Go back and read his quotes, and he certainly, as Bernie pointed out, a man who not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. Let's learn more about him and our Player Spotlight, brought to you by Fifth Third Bank.
Let's get it now, all night. Dominate! Honestly, it was a bittersweet, happy game for me because coming off the bye week, I finally got a chance to get healthy. I mean, I was really banged up, so I was really overexcited to even be playing healthy for the first time since week 1. So, I mean, it just felt great being out there with my team. No shade November now. You ain't got to look raggedy no more. I was just warming up, just going through my normal stuff. Like whenever I always try to get a little peek at the other team and just to see which guys they're favoring even up in pregame and just see how the ball is coming out the quarterback hand that day. But a couple guys came up just kind of talking trash. All right, what's up? Yeah, all right. Miles got something coming for you today. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. One of the things that stuck with me before the game that they said was, don't forget that you still play for the Browns. And that was quite funny because, I mean, obviously they haven't played us because they don't know that this ain't the same Browns team that they've been playing up in the past. But I'm sure they're going to look at film today and tomorrow and they'll realize that this is a different Browns team that they're playing. They didn't piss me off today. Just make sure they keep that same energy. If I catch a pick, get ready to fight because the ball going to Hugh. On God.
In the shotgun, 2nd and 10. Dalton's got the snap, back to pass. He's getting pressure. He lobs one and it's picked off. Damarious Randall has it at the 45-yard line.
They better stop playing with me. I'm a dog out here. People know, I mean, the secret's out. I mean, the Browns is nothing to play with, and everybody knows that. And I feel like guys are starting to gel with each other. Guys are starting to hang out more outside of the facility.
We got your back. You know look, we got your back. You say what you want to say, we got your back.
You know it. Dog out here. Dog out here. When we start becoming a brotherhood instead of just a team, I mean, I feel like guys will go above and beyond to make sure each one of us is like ready to go each week. And I just feel like everybody got a good feel for each other now. And we just got to do what we got to do and win each and every game. And I just feel like the sky's the limit for this team.
Love it! Out! Hey! Hey!
when you think about this secondary, John Dorsey came in and said, I am completely remaking this secondary this offseason. Nobody who started, basically week 2 on was in that position last year. All 5 new starters. How have you evaluated those defensive backs?
Well, we all have certain amount of tendencies within the way we like to orchestrate and set up and build our football team. John Dorsey's past has showed that he's really into the secondary, the coverage, and with the way the rules have changed and the way the league has evolved into an extreme passing league, it really is imperative to have top-tier back-end support that can cover and shut down playmaking big receivers. So John Dorsey would be able to add that mix of youth with the draft picks, with this mix of veterans and free agencies like Randall. It's been a perfect match so far.
Absolutely. Randall had a great pick, obviously, in that game. And there have been a lot of things the Browns have done this week that have gone viral from a social media standpoint. Let's see what our alley picks in the Browns Social Minute, brought to you by Giant Eagle.
What's up? I'm Allie Raymond, and this is your Social Minute, where we show you the best of what happened on social media this week. First off, the Browns are riding high after their big win last Sunday over the Bengals, and this Victory Monday was even more fun than usual. These fans were just as excited as defensive back Damarious Randall. Next up, this Browns fan tweeted out this week that if Baker Mayfield retweeted his tweet that his wife had agreed that they would name their unborn child Baker. And Baker, of course, obliged. Baker quote tweeted it with, "Can't wait to see a picture of the little man." We want to see him too. Make sure to send us pictures. And lastly, this week kicks off the first of 3 weeks for My Cause, My Cleats. 29 Browns players will be wearing cleats that represent causes and organizations near and dear to their hearts. Those are some nice looking kicks. I'm Allie Raymond, and this was your Social Minute.
After the break, Browns rookie sensation running back Nick Chubb talks getting comfortable in the offense, and tight end coach Greg Seaman previews the Texans. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, I remember back at the draft, Alonzo Highsmith came into the CBD studio and he told me that we got a young Jamal Lewis in Nick Chubb. And that is a rare combination of size, speed, and vision. And I'll tell you, while he didn't get many opportunities early, certainly making the most of them now. And you'd have to say he is one of the preeminent running backs in the NFL.
Nick Chubb's play in the running game, we saw that at Georgia. I think we expected that or hoped for that here in Cleveland. The added bonus is the ability of him in the passing game, his hands and the plays he made in the game, obviously the touchdown catch.
Unbelievable.
But that's just not one play anomaly. He's been able to show good, consistent hands for a young guy that hasn't done that much. I really see that part of his game growing. And for a 220-pound guy to have that power to hit the hole like that, but then to have the speed to take it to the house, I'm sure you have so many stats on him to show the amazing start to his rookie year.
And you mentioned the hands, something he wasn't asked to do much at Georgia. Last 2 weeks, 6 targets, 6 catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chubb is the man, folks, and he sits down with our guy, Sir Andrew Gribble, for our exclusive one-on-one interview.
There goes Chubb! Touchdown! Chubb on Lava Hub! 92 yards!
I'm Andrew Gribble here with Browns running back Nick Chubb. And Nick, what's the vibe like here now coming off 2 straight wins? Your guys' first road win in a couple of years now.
It's great. It's definitely a new feeling for all of us to get these 2 wins back to back and get a road win, which hasn't been done in a while either. So, the energy is good, the vibe is good. We look forward just to get the momentum going and keep going.
I know you're one of the more actions speak louder than words kind of guys in the locker room. There's some guys that are really speaking confidently. What is the overall confidence of this team right now?
Yeah, it's getting good. It's very high now just to get those wins and back-to-back wins, and teams feeling good about ourselves. But we can't let that get too ahead of ourselves. I keep doing what we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. Just keep practicing hard and preparing.
Mayfield shotgun back, getting heat, looks, lobs, Chubb's open, he's got it! Touchdown! Nick Chubb! What a catch!
Now I got to ask about the catch that everyone's been talking about from Sunday against the Bengals game. What are you thinking as that ball's in the air?
Honestly, I have no idea what even happened. It was kind of like a blackout moment because
I just seen the ball behind his back. I just made a great effort to grab it and, you know, no matter what, just get the ball in my hands and just go from there. And I pulled it in and just, you know, a great play by me. I had no idea I was capable of doing those things, but it was great.
It seems like in the last few weeks, Freddie Kitchens has been utilizing you more as a receiver. And that was maybe something you didn't do all that much at Georgia, but is it something you knew you could do?
Yeah, definitely. You know, sometimes I just never did, but I could always do it. And, you know, at Georgia we had so many other great running backs that we just let them do it because they could do it, you know. And now, I mean, I have the opportunity to show that I can catch the ball. I'm going to take full advantage of it.
I know guys in the locker room are talking about playoffs as a goal. How much is that a goal that's being talked about in this locker room right now?
It's definitely a goal for us, but we're not trying to get ahead of ourselves. Just, you know, take it day by day to week by week and just keep, you know, practicing hard. Man, it starts in practice, and we have to keep going hard in practice and preparing ourselves. And if we just work hard, you know, it'll pay off.
To get that second straight win, though, does that make you believe that the kind of a run is in this team over these next 5 games?
It definitely does. Definitely, you know, it gives us confidence to know that we can, you know, keep this thing going and we can beat anyone. Looking at our past games, we were so close in so many of them, so many overtime games against great teams, and now we're starting to put together and not make it close. I mean, that shows the progress we've made and things we can keep doing to get better.
Bernie, you mentioned earlier that great touchdown catch, kind of one of those miraculous catches, but it just shows Chubb's progression, and if he can truly be a dual threat, what a find by John Dorsey.
Of course, that catch is remarkable to watch. And again, it's just not a one-time thing. These are things that he's consistently doing. We see it day in and day out in practice. And John Dorsey, Alonzo Highsmith, Elliott Wolf, the guys picking guys like that to add to that depth. It's absolutely something that, again, adds to the plethora of statistical records he's breaking as a rookie.
Yeah, unbelievable. Over 120 yards with a multiple touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. See if you can keep that up against the Texans this week. See if you can keep up with more Browns All Access next. The Browns' 28 first-half points against the Bengals were the most against any of their opponents since what year? Was it A, 1969, B, 1987, C, 1991, or D, 2002? Find out when Browns All Access returns. The Browns' 28 first-half points last week against the Bengals were the most against any of their opponents since what year? Well, the answer is C, 1991. The Browns traveled to Indianapolis on December 1st that year, where running back Kevin Mack had touchdowns both on the ground and through the air as the Browns, led by Bernie Kosar, scored 31 points in the first half and walked away victorious in Indy. Welcome back to Browns All Access. Nathan Zegura alongside the quarterback in 1991 who led the Browns to those 31 first-half points against the Colts. Bernie, there's been a lot of talk this week about the Browns. Did they take the foot off the gas too early? I say, hey, we won by 15 on the road, folks. But you could see, though, some of the other teams around the league like to kind of put the foot down and hammer them.
Well, absolutely. I am one of the guys that never wants to take almost never wants to take my foot off the pedal. That being said, a win is a win. 35-20, we'll take that any day of the year.
Now this week it is going to be much tougher against the streaking Houston Texans, who have won 8 games in a row. To preview that game, I sat down with Browns tight end coach Greg Seaman. All right, let's transition to this week's opponent, the Houston Texans. Probably the toughest defensive opponent you guys have faced in quite some time. When you watch them, what do you see from this Texans defense?
Well, the obvious names, Clowney and Watt, come up right away, and they are dynamic, athletic guys on the outside. They have size on the inside, the 2 big tackles that play for them. And when you go through the roster, they have a lot of experience. There are a lot of guys in the secondary that have been around. And so they're not an easy team to fool. They're not an easy team to get to misstep. They will cause you to execute play after play after play after play after play down the field and be consistent in your own execution.
Let's talk about your guys' matchups. Bernardrick McKinney, Zach Cunningham coming back for the Texans this past week. You know, how have you seen them perform in coverage, and is that a matchup that you're looking forward to seeing your guys take advantage of?
I think that the 3 the 3 tight ends that we use all present their own matchup problems. David has height and length and speed, agility. Darren has unusual size and good hands, and Seth who we haven't been able to get quite as involved as we did it 1 year ago, is a wonderful route runner. So our guys present individually unique matchups, and their players are very, very sound, and they're well coached by Romeo Cornell. So we will look to create, from formation and personnel standpoints, the best opportunities to let our guys do the things that they do the best. And this is a very good defense, but we're playing pretty good football right now, and the guys are confident, and we'll make the best use of what we have.
Often when you can isolate a strong safety, that's a good matchup for a team
Sure.
throwing the football. Their
Sure.
strong safety happens to be a former free safety and cornerback in the Honey Badger, so a little bit different, much more of a corner guy rather than a box guy.
Yeah, very aggressive player, quick, agile. His size wouldn't impress you, but the way that he plays, the heart and the aggression that he plays with are exceptional. But again, we have a couple big guys that are good athletes that we'll take our chances at times.
Coach, this has been great. Thanks so much, and best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is a big one. Two teams on winning streaks. The Texans at 8 games, the Browns at 2. And I think a lot of people look at this as Mayfield against Watson. But these are two very good teams, and this will tell us a lot about where our Browns are after 2 very impressive wins. For the latest on your Browns, keep it tuned to clevelandbrowns.com, the Browns mobile app. Subscribe to all of our social channels, including our YouTube channel. And for the latest on this man, check out Kosar19.com. For Bernie Kosar, I'm Nathan Zegura saying thanks for watching another edition of Browns All Access, and let's go Browns.